welcome back to another SuperCoach video with me, JD. You are joining me for the round 7 review, where we have put together a 23-4, which dropped me 400 ranks for the week. I thought this was going to be an okay score, and compared to like Fantasy Take TV and the Discord, it was okay, but clearly missed on a few things overall which hurt, and we will go through them now. I was showing, I think on Twitter, I've been starting to track my rookie mistakes, and I definitely made a few of those this week. I think 3 mistakes for about 70 points, which some of these inevitable. Even if you follow the right process, you don't always get the right results. But yeah, painful. I mean, as you can see here, Darcy over Garcia, Dempsey bad, Graham ultimately over Closey bad. So yeah, that sucks. But I mean, we ever going to field Graham above Closey, given Closey'd been averaging 100? Probably not. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, not good. So I got my VCC right, and I guess the other thing I did well last week was probably my trade-in. So I went Dawson over Walsh or McRae in the end. I guess the one thing that probably would have been better is if I'd boosted and gone McRae and Dale, but I'm not a big Dale believer, and we'll talk about why shortly. I've still got 2 boosts, but I think I'm at a point where I probably need to use them rapidly, and there's some underperformers in the team. So let's go through it. We'll chat through the team and chat through trades, because I think there's about 3 or 4 big options for me this week, and I'm not really sure which way I'm going to go. It's a bit like last week. I think it's I guess fun. It's the challenge of the game of not knowing exactly what the right move, but it's felt really hard, quite a slog the last couple of weeks. All right, so into defense. So Sheasel, this is the game I didn't get to watch as much of, which is unfortunate because I brought in Dawson for it. But from what I saw, he played more of the half-back in the first half and then more on the ball in the second half. So it definitely wasn't pure midfield, but still scored all right. So I don't think we need to trade him or anything like that. I think the interesting option in that game was Fisher, who became sub, and I had to trade him out. I wanted to keep him because I've got the Saints this week. It should be a big score coming his way. So that was, pretty frustrating. But McKercher from that game is now 250k, and back to halfback, he turned up, and they've got the Saints, which is the easiest matchup. With this 100 in the system, I mean, he doesn't have to do much to start making some decent money again. Essendon before the bye as well. I do have the early bye, which is frustrating, but I think McKercher becomes a downgrade option this week for those that lack others, and obviously fieldable if he keeps halfback. How much do we trust the role, I guess? Ryan started this game poorly and then managed to junk his way to a 106, which is pretty impressive. I thought it was going to be a sub-ton for sure, but each week he finds a way to get there. Just spam those long kickouts, amazing. Masterclass on display again. Him and Fife this week, they can be grouped in the same bucket of just the old boys just getting it done, contested work on the inside. I think had 19 touches, and 18 of them I want to say were contested. But yeah, his work around stoppages was amazing. His first 2 plays of the game was burst out of the center, kick inside 50, goal assist, and then I think his second touch was a goal himself. So really set him up for some good scaling and good points from there. So amazing. I can't believe he's 6'10". That is insane to me. He's got 163k for the year. Price more than Dacos and Martin, just nutso. When I picked this pick, it was more just around if he could last about 5 or 6 games, go 105, I think he probably became worth it. He's now gone 7 games, averaging 118, so well above what I anticipated. But you get some results that go outside of your expectations, and you get the positive variance as well. Elliot Yo's definitely been positive variance this year. Dacos, once again, tale of 2 halves for him. He's a really hard player to get a read on at the moment. I think overall he had a good game, and if the Pies had won, he might have even got the nod for the Anzac Day medal over merit, I think. But yeah, first half didn't do much. Second half was immense for them. I think he really is a reflection of how the Pie side as a whole is going. So if they are struggling to move the ball, struggling in transition, Dacos struggles. And if they are playing their brand, then it really helps amplify Dacos' strengths, and he scores quite well. So really need to see them continue to find form and amplify. I'm a bit worried about him against the Blues this week. But if you don't have him, it's hard not to bring him in, because he's break-even 78. If he goes 130 again, you're probably looking at another 20, 30K that he makes. And he's now gone 128, 133 back to back. Where were this early on? Far out. I guess he hasn't got a good track record against Carlton. So, maybe you can hold out. But then West Coast, Adelaide next after that, decent matchups. And then Martin, look, probably definitely isn't going to reach the heights of what we saw where he was getting 40 touches a game. But he's had 2 important crunch time goals in back-to-back weeks, which has really helped his score. The worry here is that they did move him half forward in the fourth to try something different. Now, I think that was partly because with the sub coming on, they had Harry Jones come off and they had Hind come on, and Hind, they put it half back rather than half forward and then moved Martin forward. And it was inspired in the sense that Martin kicked a goal and got a goal assist as well almost instantly. He actually had a pretty big fourth quarter overall. So a little bit of a red flag there on Martin, but, so be it. Williams. So decided to hold Williams in the end and trade Massimo. Which, Williams scored well. He's probably still tradable this week because his break-even's 80, although after this week the subbed score rolls out and he can make some more money. I definitely think he could still get up to high 300s, 400k, another 50 to 60k from here. And for those that held house, I'm just going to mention it now because I'll forget otherwise. In the same boat, -2 break even, made 30k this week, ended up being a great hold, 87. These matchups aren't brilliant, but he should be able to get, once again another 50k. He should make it for anyone that held him, you're going to make an extra 80, 100k over early traders like myself. So well done. I think a little bit fortunate that Salem got injured as well, so there's more ball to go around half back, but you got to take the luck where you can get it, especially in a year where we've had so much bad luck. So yeah, Williams, good. He continues to build, took some kick-ins, which I thought might be the case with McGovern and Sard out of the side. I just need to see where their injuries are at. Collingwood this week is a nice matchup, so I don't know, I kind of want to hold that a little bit. I think he could score well versus them. And then on the bench, Graham kicked a goal this week. Had a nice holding the ball. Good job as an inside mid. And then I'm just gonna quickly laugh at Zach Reed because still 2 to 3 weeks away. Essendon, man, the injury report on that has been brutal. All right, so where my team let me down, definitely one part is in the midfield this week. So Butters and Steele, anyone that had Sarong, that's plus 60 points. Anyone that had Rao, that's plus 60 points. So these 2 mids here really let me down for sure. Can't hide from that whatsoever. Butters, I'm actually surprised he got scaled down as much because I thought he was playing a little bit better than this. But now no Rosie for the next 2 to 3 weeks of the hamstring injury. So I would imagine that helps his scoring. Given that he'll be the main one that, Wines and Drew will be trying to get it to. So, I think he's probably even a vice captain option if you don't have better choices this week. But we'll go through. I think this is actually a week where we've got some really strong options. So, I think that's a possibility. Bont, I'm not sure what's going on with Bont. So for those that don't own him, I think you can almost get him now. 110k. By the way, this is why we don't start these top price guys. What's day cost down? 60k, Bont 100k. Guys, next preseason, remind me, don't start these top price guys. This is why we don't do it because there's so much value here. Just rough. Even though he's averaged 116, which isn't even that bad, just so much money lost that you could have put into something else. Anyone that started a Rowell over Bont, absolutely laughing. Sarong over Bont, laughing. Yeah. It's a tough spot. So 124 break even. So you don't have to go on in this week, but matchups in Hawks and Richmond next to, which are pretty nice, and he's got good track records against both of those sides. Actually, he's got good track records against most sides. He's Bont. So I think he is someone you could bring in this week because there's a chance he beats that break even. But I don't know, there's something that just looks off about him, and it feels like he's spent more time forward again this week than what you would have expected, especially with Libber out. So I'm a bit confused on what's going on here with Bont. It just doesn't seem 100%. And someone who is definitely not 100% is Steele. He had his knee wrapped up this game. Now, from what I hear, the sources have been saying that he's been nursing something for a while now. But, we're talking a month or more. So, even before these 140s, Steele has been probably nursing something. But it's really only affected him in the last 2 weeks. And even last week, it was hard to say it was due to that. I mean, the Dogs just smashed them. This week, I mean, they could not win. Oh, actually, it's been true the last 2 weeks. The Saints midfield has been getting cooked pretty badly. They cannot win the ball at all. So I don't know what they do to fix that, but it has not been good. And I think that hurts Steele because he's someone that definitely likes the hugs, likes the repeat stoppages. And now with that knee strapped up, he's not really spreading for Mark. So I'm like, is this someone that we trade out of this week? Like potentially 190 break even. So it's this week or you wait. But you look at these matchups, North and Hawks, and you go, well, maybe I can hold and just see what happens. The problem was that when Steele was struggling last year with injuries and stuff like that, which is, through this period in the middle here, Hawks 62, North 95, like it didn't really help him at all. You can see when he came back later, he cooked these teams like North 160, Hawks 108. But yeah, this is like a pretty problematic pick here because I think you either go now or you leave him. Oh, I don't know what to do. Well, we'll look at trades in a second. But anyway, yeah, very disappointing. Very disappointing. Green, nice bounce back game. If you don't have Green, then yeah, this is probably a good chance to jump on. 91 break even, 580k, good price point now. The matchups aren't particularly amazing, and I think the other thing you got to consider is that round 12 bias. That is in 5 weeks from now, which is really coming up quickly. I know there's a fair few people that already will have other players in that buy round, so you're looking at your North types a lot. We're probably trading a lot of them out. You're looking at there's like another really popular team. Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Is it Sydney? I don't know. Anyway, just have a look at your buys there because that may knock Green out of contention. But as you can see for me, oh, it is Sydney. I can see that right there. I only have Sheasel, Green, and Powell may not even be in the side this week. So if you're in a similar type of situation that you could bring him in, even if you had like a Whitfield, you could probably bring him in. Who played well on the weekend, by the way. Still a big believer in that Whitfield pick. Dawson, played well from what I saw. The frustrating thing with Dawson, and actually probably true of Heaney a little bit as well, is they rested him pretty heavily. So in the second half, once that game was kind of stitched up, he had maybe 60% time on ground for all of the second half. This could have easily been like a 150 or higher, and it's a week that I desperately needed it as well. So very annoying, very annoying. And sorry to the guy that hates drinking ASMR. No edits, no cuts. It'll never be that way. We'll never do an edit. So you just have to listen to me drink this delicious, no sugar, peach flavored iced tea. I don't know. Must have been getting like full bottles on sale and too lazy to pour it into a cup. It's like weird overshare. All right, to finish out the midfield, look at these rookies. So Roberts started off a little bit slow in this game, but still managed to find a way to get a good score. He's getting kick-ins and stuff. So I know some people that have been maybe trading out more aggressively and are more advanced in my side. Maybe starting to ask questions of like, can we trade out Matt Roberts? I wouldn't. This is one of the rookies you are comfortable fielding at the moment. Break even 37. He at least gets another week. I mean, this GWS game may be tough because, GWS, actually these next 3 are pretty tough for the Swans, if I'm being honest. GWS, Freo, Carlton. Freo might be all right. So, yeah, I wouldn't be trading him this week. I'd be making other moves, and then maybe next week if you really need to, but that's a lot of money on his head. Reed will welcome back. We looped on Wilson's 88, which was nice. And Wilson is definitely fieldable this week against North. And then Closey with the 65. Started slow, had a knock to his arm as well in this game. Apparently came back with wrist taping, which was weird because it looked like it was something to do with his shoulder. But anyway, he played it out, was okay. Midfield, bench. So Wilson we talked about was good. He's effort, he's running, he's repeat sprints. Like, this is, I don't know what pick they got him at. I think it was late first round, but he's steal. Like, yeah, he's looked very good. I like Wilson a lot. Clark didn't play, which is probably the most useful thing he's done all year because he's not losing money and we can loop him now. Needs to find some form and then come back and provide some bench cover during buys and pop some 70s because I'm not getting rid of him for 153k. And then McAuliffe got dropped, but Hopper was injured with a hammy, so I think 2 to 3 weeks is what they said. So I'm hoping he comes back this week and drops a couple of games, can get to 200k or prove himself. I think the challenge was like Dow hadn't been looking particularly good, but had his best game on the weekend. So really, if he doesn't come back in for Hopper, then I don't see when Kane's playing next. And I don't want double dead bench. Like, one of these really needed to have DPP, so that's scary. Dangers of going early, huh? All right, Rucks. I mean, and this is where we like talk about the absolute biggest disaster of all, which is Marshall. So people traded in bloody sweet and took him. Got I don't know, 70 something points on Marshall. You had Meek, for those who went Meek a couple weeks ago, where that was like the alternate path. He put up 102, got another freebie goal today from a joke 50 from Grundy. So even Grundy jumped to like a 80 or something better than this. What did Meek go? 106. Just gross. 56 break even. Oh my god, he's gonna like go past Marshall's price in a week. So yeah, this pick's been an absolute killer. And honestly, I don't think there's any way to see this coming, because he coming off a good score, traded him in, had another good score, had two good matchups here, including against Sweet, who's not solo rucked more than 5 games, and he's dropped a 51 and a 63, and it just looks off. It doesn't help that once again the Saints midfield's getting cooked. So I think hitouts, Sweet had like 11 to advantage, and Marshall maybe had 4 or 5. The Saints midfield cannot win a ball to save themselves. And I know Marshall's not a good hit-out ruck, but when your mids can't win it either, it's just so bad. So this is another one where it's like, do I trade Marshall out? Because I could have Sweet on field now instead, putting out probably 80s instead of whatever this is, and then upgrade elsewhere and take some of these poor rookies off. So that's an option to consider this week. This is really gross. Disaster, like absolute disaster. I can't, like, how many points I'm losing here is just gross. It's the difference between going up and going down in ranks at the moment. All right, and then forwards, yeah, Heaney was good. He got pulled off, or like managed a bit late. He had his ankle rolled up on, which he's had problems with, but played out the game. So one just to be aware of. Flanders continued to do what he did, which was like junk it up at halfback. So another decent score, 105 from him. In a year where we don't have forwards, then, you know, so be it. Fife, 119 was absolutely huge in this game. And by the way, like the fact that I've got Yo and Fife and didn't go up ranks, it's just like shows how much of a letdown Butters, Steele, and Marshall are, because almost everyone else scored all right. I mean, yeah, the rookies weren't great, but everyone else was good scores. So this is just sad. Yeah, 36 break even for Fife. Richmond matchup this week, which you'd imagine should be able to go decent on with no midfield. Although I do worry that if this game gets out of hand early, then it's the type that they could manage Fife through. You know, so we'll see there. That's probably the only flag or concern there. But averaging 90 now, and yeah, where we don't have forwards, then great. Powell, obviously big concern. Don't need to say it. I know a lot of us would have traded him in because of this mid roll. He got moved out of that mid roll this week. Played more half forward. Phillips, the good thing is Phillips got subbed out and was absolutely awful. So hopefully he gets dropped. But the concern maybe is that even when Phillips was out, Powell didn't necessarily move on to the ball as much as I would have liked. So I think got to listen to Clarko this week to see what they say about matchups, who's in the side, all that type of stuff, because this is a worry. Dempsey, he can probably be moved on. 69 break even. It's definitely possible. Like, he can hit this. I don't think I have to trade him. But it's now been, 3 games where he's just had put out very poor scores after the strong start that he had. So Melbourne, not a great matchup this week, I don't think. I mean, MCG, big open ground, could be matched up on someone like Billings, which is good, but he had an amazing first quarter where he put up like 40 points, and then they just did not use his side of the ground for 3 quarters, which is crazy. I do think Cat's basically being closer to full strength has him kind of like 21st or 22nd kind of picked in that side now, and I do worry that he's a sub risk now as well, so if he's playing late games, I'm worried. We'll see. Like, I think he's still a good player, just didn't get the use that I would have liked to have seen, so it's a worry, because he was one of those ones I had pegged as like, I'm happy having him on field every week, and now, I don't know. Garcia, so I picked him to field over a bunch of these other options just because of that mid-roll, and yeah, it was always a bit of a worry with Port, but yeah, got cooked, did not do enough. I think he's at risk of being dropped this week, which is a shame because they've got North and Hawks. Now, I want to say there was some type of... Higgins got banned for 3 weeks, so maybe he holds on because Higgins is a forced out and Garcia can kind of play small pressure. But like, I really want him to hold through this North Hawks fixture because he can get some points here and get some good cash in the next couple of weeks. Maybe get to like low 200s, something like that. So yeah, hope he holds. Darcy restarted his cash gem with the 88, which is nice. And then Hawks and Richmond next too. So he's a hold and he's a field option now as well. break even 41, and then Cadman is break even 52. So he's not someone that you have to trade, but there's a good chance against the Swans that he goes under that this week. But here he's getting close to being capped out. If you don't have anyone else to trade, then I think you could definitely look at trading Cadman this week. All right, so if we just make some changes to the team, I'm probably not a fan of fielding Dempsey this week because Wilson into that North matchup's good. So I think this is now where the team sits coming into the week here. We've got some money saved, but we need to make moves to reverse this slow rank fall that's happened over the last couple of weeks. Looking at the team, we're going to try and identify where are the weak spots. The weak spots this week are potentially Power, potentially Marshall, potentially Steele, which none of those are rookies, which is scary. But yeah, I don't I'm losing confidence in these two. I still don't necessarily want to field Darcy. Reed and Roberts are good. Williams is fine. If I could loop some of these, I think I'd be more confident. Can I loop Reed this week with anyone? Gold Coast plays last. It's so annoying. But I could loop Williams with like a Graham or a Closey type. All right, that's good. That's probably more team setup optimization at the end. So yeah, so I'll just start. I haven't played around with trade, so I don't know what works with money and what doesn't. But I'll just start showing some things. So firstly, I think Sweet is an upgrade on many of my other rookies this week. So I could just get in Marshall for Sweet and then use basically all this money I've got banked now to get a couple of upgrades done. So players that are close to topping out could be, or have topped out, could be like a Cadman. It could be a Dempsey. And if we're looking at mid targets this week, I think Brow's probably still a little bit too pricey for me. But Sarong has the nice buy. He's got Richmond this week. Got Merritt, who has got West Coast this week, and just saw what the Gold Coast players did. Even this 130 break even, he could definitely hit that. Got the round 14 buy, which I don't think I've got too many of. So yeah, I could go like Merritt, or actually Sarong's cheaper. So it goes like Sarong, get this one done. And then 202k. I think I'd have to trade Williams, right? To get Merritt. Have I just miscalculated that by like 100k? I totally have. So that doesn't work. All right, so I couldn't get in Merritt doing that. What does it even get? Oh, I could get like a McRae type, but I'm not sure if I want a McRae. That doesn't really unlock anything for me, does it? Don't like that. Don't like that at all. Okay, so we're probably not doing that. But yeah, so I think this one option though is effectively like trading out Marshall, getting in Sweet, putting Sweet on field because he's a decent rookie now over some of these other rookies, and then using the money to upgrade cash elsewhere. I guess the option here would be to get Dale, right? So what would we do? We would do something like Cadman out. Oh, actually no, we'd be going Powell out, I think. Oh, but I'm short of Merritt doing this. Okay, so I think, hold on. I think I see the play now. If I wanted to do this, this is pretty aggressive because I think it holds on to some rookies that probably should get rid of. All right. All right. Williams, Power, Marshall, and we get in. Wait. We get in Merritt. And we get in Sarong. That's probably the cleanest way of showing this. All right, so in terms of then what changes, oh, we've only got one rookie on field in the midfield. That looks nice. We like that. In the forwards here, we've got Wilson, Darcy, Reed, which I think we're okay with, and then got Closey on the bench. I can't use that Reed loop anymore, which is a shame. Oh, actually, I might be able to with Roberts and Graham. Yeah, something like that. And we could loop on Garcia, I assume, with Closey. Yep, can loop Garcia and Closey, and then in the forward line, I'm just holding Dempsey and Cadman there. I think no loopholes. So this is definitely an option. And this puts like a pretty nice on field this week. Like just looking at this looks pretty good. Who says no to this? The midfield needs one more spot. I guess it probably goes to Petrarca. The defense needs one more upgrade that'd go to Stewart. And then the forward line needs upgrades after that. But the forwards are just terrible. Do I want McRae? Probably not. Do I want Rankin? I mean, he scored well, but probably not. If I had to go like a primo, like a key position forward primo, it's probably like Curnow is the one I'd target, I think, into a good fixture when they've got one. Moore had a good week. Like he had a decent week. So you could consider Moore or Zorko. They played around with his role, but clearly they need him at halfback. They played him everywhere. It's so bizarre. So I don't know what happens there. That's tough. Yeah. Okay. So this is option one for me. This is pretty aggressive. We get out of Marshall, and we do these trades. I guess like Powell out. This looks better than what I thought because I'm not actually getting rid of any rookies, but the on-field seems to have improved so much. I guess it's because like Sweet is hiding here, but Sweet, Closey, Roberts, Wilson, Darcy, Reed seems good. Okay. So say we weren't to sideways a premium, which always has a chance of biting you in the butt. We still want Sweet. We definitely still want Sweet. And let's say Phillips gets dropped and we hold Powell, which I think if Phillips is dropped, I probably just do hold Powell. But yeah, we'd have to see. So what would the trades be instead then? So we go Sweet, have to get Sweet. Now, for those that already got Sweet last week and maybe even took his score, well done. Lucky you. Let us have a look at the other ones on the bubble because I think there's two options that we can talk about. Far out. Played less than 3 matches. I need break evens. That's what we need. So you got Garcia. I mean, Naismith might play third game, but I don't think he's really an option with Sweet on the go. Although if you've already got Sweet at R2, then maybe you could get Naismith at R3 if you wanted to. So Aaliyah played a second game, but I think Taylor comes back and gets so he'll get dropped. Garcia was originally going to be sub for this game. So if you went early on Garcia, maybe fortunate, maybe it's a bit of a worry. That's what Bevo said. He's going to be sub, and then with Libba going out, he played the full game, and Caleb Daniel came on a sub. Caleb Daniel wasn't particularly good from what I saw. So I think the good news for Garcia owners, though, all those potentially looking at him as a trade-in, is Waitman hurt his arm and looks like he'll be out for a period of time, and West also copped a week. So with those two omissions, I don't see how Garcia isn't getting a full game. Played okay late. He actually played okay for most of the game. So I think he's probably an okay option this week, and if you've got him, it's fine. Otherwise, Rogers is probably the one that's popped up. So he had a 98 after just a small, like a low mid-20s in round one. He did it on the back of lots of score involvements and assists. I think his fantasy was only 60, so he kind of had like a plus 30 ratio, which is pretty extreme. But yeah, another one of their academy kids and had a really good game. Brisbane matchup this week is scary, but then North is nice. He's a smaller forward, so this pick comes with risk, and I guess he's priced at 148 rather than 125. But these are probably your two options here, because Garcia, I feel like, was fringe risk, but now those injuries might have given him, 2 or 3 extra weeks. Rogers, I'm not really sure who comes back to challenge for his spot, and I think Hardwick looks like he's fine to keep playing kids as long as they're playing well, which he did. So, yeah, I think those are your two options this week. What's his break even? -41. I do feel like you kind of have to go now or just not at all, given he's 148. It could be like 90s next week. I mean, I guess if we went 100 again, then maybe some of us will be forced to jump on late, but yeah. And then, yeah, Darcy Jones is the one who played one game, looked really good. Now, he was filling in for Green and Daniels, who sat out this game. So I worry what his job security looks like, but he didn't. Like, it's almost hard to drop in with how well he played that first game. He missed pretty much all of last year, I want to say, with the ACL, and he's only played 1 or 2 VFL games before they brought him in this year. He looked pretty good. So, yeah, And then just other one games quickly. You've got the Freo boys in Simpson and Voss. Voss probably didn't do enough, even though he had some nice moments. Simpson was pretty good late, but once again, I'm not sure if he did enough. So you can keep an eye on them, but yeah, wouldn't be going crazy over it. And then Hardiman played for North. I saw him a little bit earlier. They're not much late, so I'm not sure what his job security is like. They're the ones for next week. So we might get an option out of those for next week. Oh yeah, the other one I mentioned obviously is McKercher. So I think McKercher is a downgrade option this week, and maybe that's where that leads me to with my second path. So if I go Sweet out for say a Dempsey, I definitely want to get a mid upgrade done still. I could trade out Cadman. Cadman could be time to go, or it could be like Power still, and we probably want to bring in McKercher as a on-field option. Who would I even trade out though? This is a little bit tricky. Because Williams is probably fine to hold. I guess Power can go or can stay. Let's say it's Cadman out, just to keep this moving. We'll go McKercher in. Which I think is pretty crazy bringing back in. So I don't know if I'll stick with this, but it's an option. And then I guess we can just go Cadman out because no one else is really ready to move on. So I really like trading out Williams though. I kind of want to hold him, but this works. I can get up to say Merritt this week. Which would I have Merritt over Sarong? I think that's tricky because Sarong's buy is pretty nice, and you do have to start considering them. That round 14 buy, I don't really have anyone in the midfield though. So yeah, that could be a consideration. Now, I'm not going to do it just because the video's already been long enough talking through these trade options, but I think my last option here is to trade out like a Steel type, and we saw it with Marshall, but if I did it with Steel, it's an extra 56k. So rather than trading out Williams, I could trade out Cadman to do that. So I hold Williams, get rid of Cadman, and then, yeah, play Steel on ground. The problem is it locks Sweet into this R3 spot with Marshall still in the team. But the good news is, and something to pay attention for anyone trading in Sweet this week, is that they have that the Thursday game against the Crows. So I can bring in Sweet this week, put him at R3, see how he scores, and then decide what I'm doing with the rest of my trades. Like, if he scores 120, 130 again, it's probably just straight up silly to hold Marshall. I should probably just trade him and take that score. Even though sideways trading your primos, I'd rather just not do. But given it gets me 2 premium mid upgrades and I'd still get an amazing rookie score, I think I'd just do that. So that's really like the other thing to consider this week. So hold on, with let's just have a look with this McKercher team. Because this is probably my other trade paths this week. How much do I want McKercher? Well, they've benched him still anyway. They being the SuperCoach Gold types. So I would be looping Roberts with Graham. Or actually, I probably would loop McKercher with Graham. And I'm confident just to straight field Roberts. Closey is probably on. Although I'm looping Garcia with one of these types. Yeah, so Garcia and McKercher get looped with Graham and Closey. Then we've got the forward line going on here. Sweets are stuck on the bench. And then we still have... I mean, this looks pretty strong too, because I can loop now Wilson with someone. I can probably... actually, I can't loop Wilson and Power, which is the two I'd like to loop. The challenge with this, of course, as well, is that if I do take a VCC, which we'll go through in a second, it's the last thing I haven't covered, then that might be a little bit tricky. But I guess I could loop Wilson and Darcy here in this last spot. And this probably gets me out of the last of my rookie worries. This seems like pretty strong too. Okay, I think my team actually looks pretty comfortable coming out of trades this week because I get probably the last really bad rookie off. Like, I'm not fielding a Garcia again. But yeah, so that's probably what I'm weighing up this week. Now, the one thing I do need to talk about is Dale, because I know people are going to be asking about, what about Dale? Is Dale an option this week? And so on and so forth. He has gone 175 and 132 in back-to-back weeks and has very nice fixtures in Hawks and Richmond. So can you go him? Negative 45 break even. You probably can. He's a very decently cheap option. I think he can make probably 100k more from here. But is he a top 6? No. Would I rather have Stewart at 500? Yes. And the challenge here is that we've seen in the past when Richards is not in that back line, he can average 115, 120. And then as soon as Richards is back, he goes back to averaging like 90. Now, I haven't looked at kick-ins this week, so let's have a look at those. But I'm guessing he's benefiting pretty heavily from Richards not being in that back line because he's been playing midfield. And then as soon as Lib is back, Richards will return to the back line. Yeah, he's been getting a few extra. I mean, he was getting some before anyway, though. Richards wasn't exactly taking heaps, although, there was 0 that game. So, yeah, I think this is the challenge here because with Libba coming back in, I think Richards goes behind the ball, and I think that hurts Dale. So I just don't think this average score that he's got here is probably his true average for the year now. And I just don't know if I want to trade that in. But there is the upside here because obviously you've seen it in these last 2 games. And I think it was 2022, he had his big year. Lots of really nice scores in here, but this was no Richards from pretty much all the year. Richards came in, I want to say, this part and killed him at the end. And then last year, just see like a sea of poor scores with Richards in this side. So I think I'm a no for Bailey Dale. But yeah, so in defense, Dacos is probably a good buy this week still if you don't have Dacos. In the mids, Green, Bont, Dawson is still obviously very cheap and has a 24 break even now, so you can go on any of these guys. I like them all as options. Sarong, I think, is worthwhile just because of the buy, and if you want to pay up for merit, then I think you can definitely do that too because his run is pretty nice over this next group: West Coast, GWS, North, Richmond. So 3 of the probably easiest matchups here combined with one of the harder ones. This Carlton matchup will probably get attention as well, but then West Coast again just after the bye. So yeah, this is a nice little run here for merit. In the rucks, I mean, I think English is probably bottomed out. So if you did want to upgrade, then by all means. But I just don't know, like 90. I mean, I think you just so much money making like Meek or Sweet Steel. If you have either of them, I wouldn't be trading out of those yet. And if you don't have Gone, he's now 710k. Like you just can't. You just can't. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that. And then in the forwards, wouldn't be trading into Heaney. If you don't have Flanders, he's priced probably like fair enough. Maybe he's a little bit overpriced. Fife, I'm not sure you can actually take at 426k. And then there's no one else I really like. I mean, McRae's the one I'll have my eye on this week with Libba back. See how he goes. He's break even 76, so even if he tons, he won't go up a heap. I can get him at 500k next week. And then, yeah, upgrade targets moving forward. Stewart, as I mentioned, he's coming back from concussion this week. He's 538 with a 138 break even. I mean, he could get that and just like straight out plateau. But he has, this 108 fall. So we'll see. I mean, he could be someone who will get even as early as next week, Stewart, to finish the back line. And Petrarca had another poor game. He got tagged by Pickett in this. They sent Pickett to him. So he's now 594k, 188 break even. And they have the Cats this week who've been doing work. They've been doing work. So I think there's potentially probably 2 weeks, maybe it's just 1 more week, but of price drops. We'll see what happens this game. But yeah, Petrarca is one that we'll be looking at next week as well, or next couple of weeks for this 560k price point. So that'll be one of the last midfielders I target will be Petrarca, Stewart, and then we'll worry about the forwards later. Okay, vice captain this week. So Saints matchup for Sheasel. So he's either going to be VC or C. That is probably locked in. And then I haven't really looked at much else of what's going on, but we've got Gawn against Melbourne. I don't know. Sorry, the Cats. So he hasn't cooked against them in the past, but it's kind of hard to go past Gawn's form. If I trade in Sarong against Richmond, I like that matchup a lot. Bont, I probably just don't have confidence with where he's at, but I wouldn't be surprised if he scored well against the Hawks. Oh, Merritt against West Coast. I guess that's one you could look at. They could send someone like a Ginby to him, but it doesn't really feel like the right type of matchup for a Merritt. I guess the other concern here would be that they have moved him out a little bit of the midfield when games have been won or decided. So if West Coast aren't competitive early, although I think West Coast will be very competitive with this in this match, like does that hurt Merritt? That's potentially an option there as well. Earlier than that, I mean, like this Adelaide midfield hasn't been particularly good, and now there's no Rosie. Like maybe you can go like Butters into Sheasel, but it just feels silly to go away from Gorn given he's averaging 136. What's Merritt's history like against West Coast? Yeah, pretty good. So I think that's definitely one you could look at as well. So yeah, so any combination of Sheasel, Gorn, Merritt, Sarong, and then maybe Bont. They're probably like my top 5 off the top of my head. All right, well, I think that is everything for me this week. Please let me know what trades you're thinking about, what you're considering. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.